All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Season 2 of H2H, or also known as Head to Head, the sports betting football show in which Tasos, dressed like a king here, and we'll get into that in a second, and I battle it out each and every week. Whoever comes out with the most units with our football plays gets the win for that week. We have a lot of new subscribers at this point than we did last year, Tasso, so I'm sure we'll have to explain it as we go along, but it's pretty much what I just said. We have a picks, we go round by round. The only catches and what makes this really cool is that each round we're going to be spinning a wheel to tell us what type of bet, which category we are going to be rolling with. Now, because the NFL season is a couple weeks away, we figured, and Tasos figured, great idea, that it'd be cool to do a future show. So we're going to be telling you who we would like as a Super Bowl champion, a conference champion, team total winner, Super Bowl finalist, that type of thing. So we're going to dive into that in this show, guys. But Tasos, I know that crown's heavy. It's falling off. Want to go on your little victory spiel here?
Yeah, listen, heavy's the head that wears the crown. I hope that's not a bad if this season goes terribly for me, that'll be the clip to go back to, is the crown just falling off my head before I've even got a chance to say a word. Yeah, listen, I'm doing my little victory lap. I absolutely swept the floor with you last year. Welcome back to everybody who did watch H2H last season. Like Ev said, I think we were only at 25,000 subscribers when we launched this show last year, and we're at 82 at the time of recording. So pretty significant. So a lot, like you said, a lot of you probably don't even know what this is, but it's a really fun sports betting football show that if you haven't gotten a chance to watch it before, you can obviously go back and watch some of those old episodes, but it's a lot of fun. I think a lot of people are going to get into it this year. But yeah, I absolutely dominated last year. If you go back and watch, I mean, I think you kind of made it interesting the last few weeks. I went on a little cold stretch to end the year, but there were some weeks where I was 4-0, 4-0, 4-0, 3-1, 4-0, 3-1. I was going crazy last year on this show. So yeah, you listen, got to do a little victory lap. I say it on my player prop series all the time. You got to celebrate the wins just as much as you acknowledge the losses. So you're going to celebrate a little bit here. Going to do a little victory lap.
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, that's what makes the show great, because we would joke about it all the time last year that I would have a really good, just personal betting NFL week, whether it's the videos or just what I was doing, right? But the way this show is formatted, and we'll get into it and you guys will see, you kind of got to work with what you're presented. You got to make lemonade out of lemon. And I was not opening any lemonade stands last year. I would say that much. And honestly, even when I would have a 3-1 week, it would be the weeks that you would have 4-0 weeks and stuff like that. So it's pretty damn cool. We also have a round at the end titled Fade Me, which it's the fourth round of every video. And whoever the wheel lands on for that gets to make any play out there. And the other person has to automatically fade them. And that made the difference in a lot of weeks last year, because that guarantees that no one can go 0-4 or anything like that. You know what I mean? So going to be really cool to jump into that again. If you're new, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. If you watched last year, go ahead and drop H2H in the comments. We want to see if we have any OGs here. And if you're brand new, again, buckle up and we're going to get into it. Tasos, you ready? Again, this is the NFL Futures episode of this, week 0 for the NFL.
Well, I'm ready, but what the funny thing about this is, this episode, so this obviously going to count towards our overall record, but we're not going to know the results of all these picks till the end of the year. Imagine, now obviously if it's like last year, it won't even matter, because like I said, I swept the floor with you last year. You know what? The crown's staying off now.
There's the omen. There's the omen.
The crown's staying off. But, if we're a neck and neck, a 1 unit difference, this video could be the thing that decides the season. So really interesting how we didn't do this last year. We just kind of started with week 1 last year. So this year, starting with a future show, adds an extra little wrinkle into this thing that could be very interesting if Ev actually manages to keep it close this year. But again, not a lot of evidence to prove that so far.
Yep. Yeah. Whatever you say. I heard that crown hit the ground.
We're gonna lose all the props now. It's time to get serious.
So I will say this. Usually we're spinning the wheel to see who goes first. Tasos, I'm willing to let you decide if you want to go first or second in the draft, because it's a snake draft, so you'll either get the 2, the second and third. That's my gift to you for winning last year. Usually we're gonna spin the wheel and whoever gets that goes first, but I give you the choice here.
You know what, Evan, my gift to you, because I do think you need it, is I'm going to give you the first pick.
All right. Fair enough.
I think you need it. After last year's result, I need the race to be a little closer this year, not just for me, but for the audience. I need a little more excitement here with this battle. I can't be up 6 units on you by week 8,
That's fair, and I appreciate it. How about that? All right, let's jump into. You guys are going to see a wheel on your screen in just a second. What we have on here is Super Bowl winner, conference champion, team total wins to make the playoffs. Whichever this wheel spin lands on, that is where Tasos and I are going to have to make a bet and make a play in there, and it's all based on one unit. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Let's spin it.
Now, are these units where it's like plus 300 if we get 3, or is that?
I think we can make it that. All right. Super Bowl finalists. All right, so we are looking at the two teams. It has to be exact matchup, Tasos. So that's gonna be a little difficult here. I have a Super Bowl winner that I really like. So now I'm like, I'm going first. Do I jump and put them in there? But then you're gonna know who I'm picking. Do you steal from me later on? I think this is the Super Bowl matchup. It's a pretty big. All of these plays are going to be plus money. So get to it. I want to get the right odds. It is going to be 1, 2, 3. It's pretty damn far down there. I'm looking for it. It's not that far down there. Let's see. I got to find. I was going to say,
where do you? We got a Browns Rams Super Bowl on the way.
It's not even far down there. I passed it. I like the Bengals versus the 49ers plus 2,500. Already, we don't even have football to go off of, and Toss is like not a good pick.
You're starting off right where you left off last year, Ev. I am not. I'm going to let you go ahead and. I want to hear your thought process first, but I do not like this at all.
Which side don't you like? I can start with them.
Both.
All right, so okay, so the Bengals, I like the spot with a healthy season. I know they lose a couple guys, Mixon, they lose Boyd. I do understand that. One thing I do like is that when Joe Burrow is healthy, some of the other top guys in that top teams in that conference seems to have their number. So I like the idea if this comes down to an AFC championship game of a fully healthy Bengals team against, say, the Bills or the Chiefs, I like Joe Burrow to be able to get to the Super Bowl. 49ers, I just think that they're...
Niners side now.
Go ahead. Go. All right. The 49ers is
I want to hear Niners side.
Yeah. All right. So the 49ers.
Yeah.
Non-debatably probably the best team in the league last year, right?
Non-debatable. I think they're all year long they're better than the Chiefs up until the Super Bowl.
They're the team that has been knocking on the door. I think that they are... Well, I'm not going to give away anything else here in this spot, but I think that that's the team that you've seen them now get there, lose. A couple years later, get there, lose. I think that they have enough pieces, enough weapons, even with some shaky things going down on both sides of the ball, that to me, they could be a surefire pick in this matchup. Because again, this doesn't matter who wins. This is the matchup.
Boy, where do I start here? All right. We'll start with the Bengals one first. I do think it's a little bit easier there. You made a good point. Like if Joe Burrow's healthy, the Bengals are a lot of fun and they're dangerous. The last time he was healthy, they went to a Super Bowl and almost won the Super Bowl. My problem is I like Joe Burrow personally. My biggest bet of all time I've ever won was an LSU future back in 2019 to win the whole thing. Won like over $5,000 on that bet. I have an eternal appreciation for Joe Burrow, but I just don't buy in him being healthy. He can't even practice more than 3 days in a row throwing the football. They shut him down after like 3 days because they're afraid of his arms hurting, like getting an injury. So like, I just think the injury thing with Burrow, the offensive line, I don't know what's going on there. They've been trying to rebuild that thing for like 6 years now, and it's still not that good. He doesn't have a great offensive line. Now you've got like some stuff going on with the receivers. Like, is T. Higgins going to be happy? Is he even going to be there come December? Yep. The defense is okay, but like you had some drama with Trey Hendrickson in the offseason where he almost retired because he didn't want to be there. I don't know. There's a lot of things with the Bengals, and I think they're like top 6 in Super Bowl odds right now. So people are high on them. I'm just not. They're in a really tough division. A lot of good teams in the AFC. And my other big thing, honestly, at the end of the day, is I just don't think they're good enough to beat the Chiefs in the playoffs. I really just don't think they have it. I don't think Burrow will be there come AFC Championship time. I think he'll probably be on injured reserve by then. Unfortunately, the injury things are big for me there. Moving on to the Niners, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but how many teams that lost the Super Bowl the next year get back to the Super Bowl? I think the Patriots were the last team that did it. When they lost to the Eagles, they won it the next year. But it doesn't really happen that way. It's actually the opposite, right? The Eagles they lost to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. The next year, they had a huge Super Bowl hangover. The Bengals, I'm pretty sure, missed the playoffs altogether. Like, a lot of Super Bowl hangovers happen for that team that loses. And the Niners, you already got some stuff. McCaffrey's already hurt. You got a calf injury. Who knows how that affects his season? You got the Ayuk. He may not even be there by the time this video releases. He could be a Steeler. Who knows? So there's a lot of question marks. I just think that the Niners are due for regression in general. They were pretty lucky for the most part last year with injuries. I'm very concerned with that part of it. So it'd be a very fun Super Bowl. I'd look forward to watching it. I just think injuries play a huge part in that for both those teams. And we saw it last year a little bit with Brock Purdy. If he's missing his weapons, even if it's just McCaffrey, that offense is not run the same. So a lot of risks there. I don't trust that pick.
All right, fair enough. What do you got?
I don't have the odds pulled up in front of me. I actually do have Chiefs Lions in the Super Bowl.
Chiefs Lions. Let's see if I can find the odds for you quickly. I mean, it took me a while last time, but
I think they're higher up there.
Chiefs Lions.
I did see them early on DraftKings. I'm pretty sure it's
plus 2,500. Actually, the exact same thing.
Yep. I like that matchup better. The Chiefs, they're like the Patriots now, and I hate to say that as a Patriots fan. I don't like that. I thought it would never be replicated, but the Chiefs are kind of replicating it. The Hollywood Brown injury this week kind of puts a little bit of a wrinkle into that, but like if he's mostly healthy, they didn't have a receiver last year. Now you add Hollywood Brown to that. Their defense is solid. Their offensive line is solid. They have the best quarterback in the NFL. They can run the ball. They can do it all. The only thing that could stop it, honestly, is if Mahomes goes down or Travis Kelce goes down. And then we have a different story on our hands. I just think the Chiefs are shooing to get back to the Super Bowl. The AFC is talented. I just don't know if there's a team right now in the AFC who can really challenge them. And on the NFC, you can honestly argue this should have been the Super Bowl last year. The Lions were dominating the Niners in that NFC Championship game, and then they blew it. I think Detroit got some much-needed experience. I think they actually improved upon their team in the offseason, and there's still a chance to do more. I mean, they've been active in trade talks. They could be a team come trade deadline time. Maybe they trade for some of these disgruntled veterans. I've seen like Matt Judon to the Lions kind of rumored. I mean, there's an opportunity for them to get even better than they are now. And I like that team a lot. I think Jahmyr Gibbs will be better this year. I think they've got way more experience now. They've won some playoff games. They lost in a heartbreaking fashion. And in the NFC, I just think that, like I said, the Niners, I expect some regression. I think this time around, if there's a rematch in the NFC Championship game, I think Detroit will not squander that opportunity this time. I think they'll beat them this time. So I see a Lions-Chiefs Super Bowl ahead.
So I don't mind the Chiefs. They were obviously, I mean, that's probably the easy answer to. If I were to kind of complain, you could make the argument of are they going to win 2 in a row? But again, we've seen other teams do that. I guess that's super hard in general. We should say, right? But I don't hate that.
It'd be 3 in a row.
Holy crap! Yeah, you're right. So that's historic. But am I going to say, because no one's doing that? The Chiefs can't? No, they're the team that would do that in the last 5 years or so. So okay, fine, give you the Chiefs. The Lions. Now I like the Lions too. This is probably similar to how you were talking about Joe Burrow in the sense of you like the guy, you think he's a good player. But the Lions, to me, my first immediate thing with them is that they're probably going to be one of the best teams. They already are one of the best teams in the league, but one of those dominant type Super Bowl teams, year in and year out, in a year or two. They have guys that stepped up last year that if one of those guys kind of just steps down a little bit, a major piece of their offense. I mean, Amon-Ra St. Brown is so good, right? What if he's just not one of the best guys in the entire league? Jared Goff, we've seen kind of struggle before. The tight end, I'm forgetting the rookie, Sam Laporta, right? All these guys that made them so good last year, are we going to say they're definitely proven? Now, if they are, then I can't really say anything about this. It's almost like you saying if Joe Burrow stays healthy, then yeah, right? I want to see a little bit more of fact before I say, hey, Lions are going to go to the Super Bowl. Because last year, no doubt, they were so good, but they almost seemed like a team of destiny last year as well. The year, was it this back half of the year before, they were crazy. They're so good against the spread. They're kind of turning things around. And my one last little piece, and I don't know how this kind of contributes to the Super Bowl argument, but it's one thing that kind of drives me nuts about the Lions is that they say how they're this gritty, dirty, hard-nosed team. And then they'll get in shootouts that are 60-70. And I'm like, are you a gritty good defensive team? Or are you supposed to be the high flyer team? That drives me nuts. That doesn't take away from your pick either way. But to me, they have the identity of the Detroit grit. And it's oh yeah, but let's go win 54-50 sometimes. So I like the Chiefs. I like the Lions. I do think that the Lions, just as everyone's over the Bengals, I think that's the correlated pick to what you don't like about my Bengals. I think a lot of people are high on the Lions and just not proven yet, but you're getting good odds, as am I.
Yeah, I think one of the things I like about the Lions a lot, though, is the fact that they have a lot of young pieces on both sides that I mean, they should get better. I think with the offensive side of things, even if Amon-Ra takes a step back, like Sam Laporta, he had injuries last year and he didn't really get going until about like 5-6
Yeah.
weeks in. He should take a massive jump this year. And the same thing with Jahmyr Gibbs. Jahmyr Gibbs, those first 8-9 weeks was non-existent in that offense. And then the last half of the year, he was a dynamite weapon for them. So, and they still have David Montgomery to back him up. So that 1-2 punch at running back is really lethal. They've got a good offensive line. They got a lot of young pieces that are just getting better and better.
Mhm.
So I do see what you're saying to a degree, but I do think Detroit, they were really spectacular last year. I think there's another level they can reach, and that's kind of scary because they won 12 or 13 games last year. If they can reach that next level, they could be like how good the Niners were last year, where
Yeah.
they're just unstoppable.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of hope that they are because that's a super fun team to watch. Like watching the receiver on Netflix and whatnot. Amon-Ra St. Brown, which if you didn't know, like is like actually a good guy, like has a cool story and stuff. It's like I'm there for that. I just would like to be proven it, but you know what? We're talking about gambling, so you're taking the swing for the
I mean, they were 10 minutes away from the Super Bowl last year. I mean, they were really close. They didn't blow that lead to 49ers. Everything's different right now, but I do see what you're saying to a degree.
Yeah, we shall see. Obviously, these are going to come into play at the end of the season. But let's jump in. We got round number 2 now. So what we do is each round we'll go through and switch up which category we're in. So now we're going to spin the wheel again. I think we should remove one as we get it, right? Is that what we said we'll do at the end of last year so we don't double
I think so,
up too
yeah.
much?
Just so we're not doing the same bet every single time.
Perfect.
And we have multiples as it is anyways, so it's not like we can't find we can land on it again potentially.
We just at least make sure, because there was that one week we had all the same
it's
like
awful.
bets, and someone in the comments was like, why don't you do this? And we're like, yeah, that's a good idea. But all right, let's spin it. You're going first this time.
I don't know what I want here. The thing with the futures, there's so much of it. There's actually I'm gonna keep my mouth shut because there is something I do. The Super Bowl winner.
Super Bowl winner. All right. Let me remove that as well from
I
the
list. I gotta piggyback off of my pick, I guess. So it's gotta be. I feel stupid for doing this, but I'm gonna take the Lions. I'm gonna take the Lions to win the Super Bowl.
Okay.
I think obviously Kansas City's they're literally the favorite. I think at plus 500 right now to win it.
Yep.
Three-peats now. Has a three-peat ever been done before? I can't even on the top of my head. I can't think. I don't think it has.
Let's see.
Not 100% certain. Either way, it's really difficult. The Chiefs are getting a little bit older.
No
I do
team
think
in
they're
history.
going to get to the Super Bowl.
No team in history.
No.
But
so that they literally would be the first team ever to do that. I mean, they definitely could. I just think it's about time they get dethroned. And like last year, they went to overtime with the Niners. They almost lost. That Niners team was a little bit flawed. I actually do think, although the Niners' weapons around their quarterback are better than what their weapons are better than what the Lions have. I think Jared Goff is a steadier quarterback than Brock Purdy. I think you can trust him a little bit more than Purdy. I think Purdy too many times last year, and trust me, I've lost some big money on the Niners last year between the Super Bowl, that matchup versus Baltimore in the middle of the season. Brock Purdy, and I do like him for the most part, I just think that he really just needs everything around him to be good. And when anything goes wrong, he can't go off script. And I think Jared Goff, I trust him a little bit more. He's played in the Super Bowl before. He's had some bigger moments like that. I like the Lions there versus the Chiefs. I think that their offense, if everything goes according to plan, if Laporta keeps getting better, if Amon-Ra gets better, if Jahmyr Gibbs gets better, if Goff can stay at the level he is, that offense is going to be a lot for the Chiefs defense to handle. And the Chiefs defensively did lose a few pieces in their secondary. That is a little bit alarming there. They did hold on to Chris Jones. They still have that good defensive line. But their secondary did get a little weaker. And I think a team like Detroit with their offense could be a little bit of a problem. And defensively, Detroit has a lot of room for improvement. But they did have some injuries last year, so it's tough. I do like Detroit, though. I would rather take the plus money, the higher odds on Detroit, than take the Chiefs at plus 500, personally.
Yeah, I don't mind it, and I think that's you are doubling down now on the Lions,
Detroit,
right?
yeah.
Like that's the scary part. I'm gonna go and I kind of gave my spiel about the Lions already, right? I'm not going to go into it again. I like the idea of not going with a favorite, though. Like, I'm not going to go with Chiefs or 49ers with my pick here either. I'm going a little bit more down the board, and it's going to be a team that I think there's some people feel indifferent about their offseason moves. I think that they definitely, made some moves, and it's going to be a team that has choked, a team that was looking like a Super Bowl contender last year. And they definitely have a few, a Super Bowl loss in their recent history. The Philadelphia Eagles at plus 1,500. that's a team that, like, if you, and I think we were even talking about it at one point, like, this was that was it a Cowboys game or something last year that you called perfectly, or something, like they went and beat the
It was
Eagles,
Cowboys,
and
yeah.
then this is a team that kind of got derailed towards the end of the year, and they were cooking, and they have a good defense. They just added Saquon too to their offense, right? Like, talk about replacing DeAndre Swift as best you can. I think this is a team that has, the coaching, the star caliber, whether it's quarterback, wide receiver, running back. They have now a different offensive line, but still losing a couple pieces, still one of the better offensive lines. And then the defense is going to be the Philadelphia Eagles defense. So for plus 1,500, I actually think they are one of the more valuable plays on that board. I don't think taking a Super Bowl favorite at plus 500 or plus 600 odds is ever really that smart, because those are pretty low odds for when you have a playoff system where one game decides it all. Basketball, that's different. You have 7 games for the best team to show out. So I think that we're right in that right category. Plus 1,200, plus 1,500. I like the Eagles this year. And I'm diversifying my portfolio, by the way. I know that I'm like, I like the Eagles, but I just said finalists, like, you know what I mean? Like, I understand that's crazy.
Listen,
but we'll
you
have
can't
to
put all
figure
your
out.
eggs in one you can't put all your eggs in one basket, because, like, look at me now. If Detroit misses the playoffs, I just screwed myself.
Right.
If something goes wrong. I can't argue with you. I actually, if I had to pick a second team to go to the Super Bowl, maybe I should have said that, but Eagles.
Yeah,
I think Eagles.
Well, you could say that now because it's.
Well, because I can't pick them anyways.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like the Eagles very much this year. I think they're my second favorite team in the NFC right now. I really do think the Niners are due for regression. I think Niners are probably third. If I had to power rank the NFC teams, I'll go Detroit 1, Philly 2, San Francisco 3.
Okay.
I think Philadelphia had the perfect offseason. The only thing that would have made it better is if Jason Kelce didn't retire. If he didn't retire, I think I'd probably pick them to win the Super Bowl over Detroit. I really do. But I do think that loss in the offensive line, I'll be interested to see how that affects, like, the tush push thing. Like,
I think it's going to be huge.
Be able to run it the same?
I think it's going to be huge. I mean, Jalen Hurts is a monster, and that's a huge part of why that works. He's one of the biggest guys on the field doing that. But like
650.
Exactly. But I mean, a guy like Kelce, like, if you slow-mo those plays, that was largely, like, maybe more than Jalen.
He's a one of a kind. There's not another center in the NFL like him. Like, the way that his body's shaped, where, like, he's not really that big for a center, but, like, it kind of made it like he was more athletic. I don't know. It was crazy, but I do think 100%. Like, they had the best receiving core in the NFL. They still have a top 10 offensive line. Now you give them Saquon frickin' Barkley, who for the first time in his career is going to have a solid offensive line and a quarterback. Yeah. And then you also add in the fact that they signed Devin White, which was huge for their defense, and then they get Cooper DeJean in the second round, who was like a first-round top 20 pick projected. They get him in the middle of round 2, and I forget the corner they took in the first round. But they drafted 2 corners, 1 and 2.
Mitchell, or I forget, Quinn Mitchell or something like that.
And then they also got C.J. Gardner-Johnson back.
Yep.
So, like, their secondary, which was one of the big reasons why they failed last year, was that defense was atrocious. And to add on top of all of that, their offensive coordinator was horrible last year. Now they bring in Kellen Moore as their offensive coordinator. So, like, they really just they addressed every issue they had, and they really improved upon it. Like I said, the only thing that would make it a 100 out of 100 is if they got Jason Kelce back. But even without him, it's still, I give it like a 95 out of 100 offseason for them. Love the pick.
All right, let's go. That might be, in now a year and 1 episode of recording, might be the most fond of one of my picks you have ever been.
Yeah, I gave you credit on a couple of them, but yeah, that definitely was one of the higher.
the fact that you have to say I gave you credit on a couple.
There were a couple. Well, Ev, I mean, to be fair, I think I don't know what the final record was, but I think I had like 7-week advantage over you. So
yeah, something like that. That's definitely, giving you credit speaks more to your success than my, like, horribleness, though. You couldn't. Well, there was one point where you went, I think it was 7-0, and then, like, the Sunday night football game or something was one loss. But all right, so now
you kind of killed me on Fade Me a couple weeks.
Yeah, so that's good, and we have that here too, which is going to be cool. And I am going first now. One of my strong suits is remembering when I'm going, right?
Yeah, that's we should have made a compilation of all the times we messed up the order.
I would literally give a pick, and then you're like, "Well, it's my turn."
But and I'd be like, "Well, I'm going to take that pick now." So
yeah. See that you just mousetrapped you. I just mousetrapped you. All the picks you got in that a successful season was because of my picks.
Sure.
But all right, let's go.
You get 1% credit.
I kind of want I think a fun one's a team total here, or the make money at plus money. Me too. So let's see what we got here. I don't really want another duplicate, but technically the odds, we've removed those slices, so hopefully that's not the case.
Yeah. But
sit.
Is it gonna sit?
It is.
Okay, good.
All right. Got what I wanted.
I got options here.
Yeah. I do too. I like this. I like this category. I don't know if this is no matter what I pick, I almost guarantee you're probably gonna hate it in a sense. All right. So I have a couple in my brain here. I wanted to take a potential long shot play. Don't think I'm going to do that. Then I wanted to move into a plus 100 play, and I'm like, that kind of takes the fun of it. I don't necessarily think that that's going to be a good move either. I'm going to
Can I
go
just say
with
real quick? Can I just say real quick?
yeah.
There's one pick I love more than anything. I will
Uh-oh.
literally flip out. I'll throw something across the room if you take it here. There's one pick I absolutely love here, and I don't know if you'll take it. I'm interested to see what you go with here.
I'd be surprised if you like this one because this is a spot in which I can't envision anyone taking it. Like actually, like I think that you're going to think this is crazy.
All right, let's hear it.
You sure?
Mm-hmm.
The Colts.
Yeah, because you didn't take my pick.
Yeah, I didn't
Not
think
crazy.
so.
Not crazy though. Not crazy.
Not crazy. That is for plus 140, and this is like when I was saying, should I go long shot? Do I look at like I won't say any of the other names because I don't know what you're picking yet, but I do think that this is a young team with some studs on it. They dealt with a lot of injuries last year, and even with their injuries, they kind of like made some motion. You know what I mean? And now being healthy with a young quarterback, hopefully. Their studs are good to go as well. I like the spot. Do I like the spot enough to like say that this is one of my favorite picks ever? No, but again, we went for plus money in this spot, and I think that's a really good value of plus 140. I envision it more of like a set, like I said, plus 110, plus 115. So if I'm getting 30 cents of the value there, I don't hate it whatsoever. Now the AFC South. I feel like people can have their, I guess, opinions on that, but a couple different teams in that division that I'm not all that scared of, right? Like the Titans, I don't think are going to be that great. Texans probably are. Jaguars, I really don't even know what their situation is, but it's not. My point being, it's not the most ridiculous division to kind of to dive into here.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I actually did think about taking them as well. My biggest concern, like I love the coach, I love the offensive line, Jonathan Taylor. Their receivers are average. Defense is solid overall. Like they are a good team. The biggest problem with the Colts is quarterback, and I like Anthony Richardson a lot. My problem with him is he can't stay on the field.
Yep.
And that's my biggest thing is now, and last year they got lucky because they had Gardner Minshew backing up. Now, however, who is Joe Flacco the backup there?
I
think it's Joe Flacco. I want to say it's Flacco. I'm the Flacco magic though. I think that was a one-hit wonder with the Browns. I don't think that's going to happen.
It is, yeah. It's him, and then they have Ellinger, yeah. Flacco's listed as second string.
Flacco's a year older. This isn't as good of. I don't know if this is as good of an offensive unit as the Browns, although it's probably close. Yeah, I don't know. My problem with this pick honestly just comes down to quarterback because, like I said, I agree with you. The AFC South, kind of a mess. Obviously, I think Houston's the favorite, but after that, it's like the Jaguars really shit the bed last year, and they lost Calvin Ridley. I don't really know what they've got going for him, honestly. I mean, Trevor Lawrence, he's been kind of shaky so far in his career, and then the Titans are just a real. I have no idea what to expect with Will Levis. So. It's just the Anthony Richardson part of it is what concerns me. Besides that, though, I do like the pick. I think if he gets hurt, I just don't think they're a playoff team.
Yeah, and that's fair, I guess. I mean, I wouldn't argue on that one, but I am taking this in thought and in hopes that that's the case. Like, I think that some of the stuff that people say about him when like on the practice field and stuff, and some of the things that they say that he does is like remarkable, and we kind of saw a glimpse of it last year, and then poof. So if he can stay healthy, I think that that's just like a diamond in the rough in a sense.
All right, he's an insane athlete. The other thing too is that he is very inexperienced. He only has 2 NFL starts, so that's the other part of it too. Is like when these big games come, we know he can run the ball. How is he going to be as a passer? Is another. That's fair. That's the other part of it too. But I don't hate the pick.
That's fair. All right, let's see. So you have one that you're loving.
Yeah.
All right.
A lot of people. I'm gonna get clowned for it, and I really don't care. It's the Pittsburgh Steelers at plus 185. I'll start with the negative so that people can get that out of the way first. They have the toughest schedule in the NFL, and they play in the toughest division in the NFL. I understand all of that. Playing the Ravens twice, the Browns twice, and the Bengals twice is not ideal. And then outside of their division, they have a really tough schedule also. So the number one toughest schedule in the National Football League overall. That's not ideal for making the playoffs. That division's tough. I don't think they're going to win that division, not with Baltimore in there. But on the flip side, they're top 10 in almost every category, minus quarterback and wide receiver. They're fantastic on every level. They have a top 10 defense. Their offensive line is top 10 in the league, and they're only going to get better. It's a really young offensive line that could be top 5 by the end of the year. They got a really solid young tight end in Pat Freiermuth. They got that Jalen Warren, Najee Harris combo, which now they have Arthur Smith as their offensive coordinator, and we can clown him all we want as a head coach. But when he was in Tennessee as an OC, he took Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry and took them to the playoffs every year, and to a point where they were in the AFC Championship game one year. We're close to a Super Bowl with Arthur Smith as their OC. So he's now the OC in Pittsburgh, and you can clown Russell Wilson all you want. I get it. The Denver experiment was awful, but you can't argue he's worse than Kenny Pickett or Mitch Trubisky. They have not won less than 8 games since 2003. It's been 21 years since they finished with less than 8 wins. Kind of crazy. If they can win 8 games or more with Kenny Pickett and Mitch Trubisky in that team last year, they got to win at least 9-10 games this year. Even if you're a really anti-Russ guy, right, and you really hate Russell Wilson, the beautiful part about the Steelers is they have no allegiances to him. They can bench him for Justin Fields. They got Justin Fields waiting in the wings. So I love this Pittsburgh team. I think they're great in a lot of categories. Yes, quarterback and wide receiver, they're a little shaky, but like we talked about with the Niners pick, in 2 weeks from now, they could have Brandon Ayuk. And now all of a sudden, you've got Russell Wilson behind a top 10 line with 2 solid running backs, 2 really good wide receivers. Solid. I mean, obviously the Ayuk trade would really push this up. It wouldn't be plus 185 if they have Ayuk. But Pittsburgh is a really scary team, and they're consistent. They're going to be in that 9-10 win range. They always are. So for plus 185, yeah, I'll absolutely ride with that.
Yeah, I think that you went about that almost like with my thought process, and like a flyer, but not a true flyer. Like you probably put them as a realistic, like if you were to make the odds, like a plus 130-ish, you're getting them in the plus 180,
plus 140, plus 145.
So if you can get them way outside of that, then I don't mind it whatsoever. Now I don't mind Russell Wilson. I think we had some like fun with him on the show last year and whatnot. I just don't know. That just is a team like, to me, the Steelers, it's like they play for that regular season double-digit wins, and then there's always someone better. Do they have a better OC and whatnot? I'll give you that. Is this a plus 185 pick? Yes. So like, how much can I say that's not factual? I see. I'm nice about how I critique, because I'm like, I get that it's a plus 185. I think that says enough. You know what I mean? Like the way that you articulate it is great, and I do still think that they're nearly plus 200 for a reason. It's a tough spot. Now I went with the AFC team as well, which could be even, maybe we should have gone NFC, but there's still some dogs there as well. But overall, I don't hate it. I just don't know how much I trust Russell Wilson. Didn't him and Jalen, Justin Fields just get in a fist fight? Was that real?
I don't think it was real. I think there's probably some sort of listen. Wherever there's smoke, there's probably fire. Like I'm sure they don't love each other in that locker room. But my thing with Russell Wilson, I think with the odds, there's 2 reasons why they are where they are. Number one is their schedule. Like I said, they have a brutal schedule this year. And number 2 is there's a lot of Russell Wilson bias going right now. My big thing to the Russell Wilson haters would be this: if that's what's hanging you up on this bet, he's on a 1-year, $1.5 million deal. If they really think he's a problem and he really sucks, they will not hesitate to bench him for Justin Fields. So they're not going to wait till week 7, 8, 9 like the Broncos did. In week 3, if he sucks, they're going to bench him for Fields. So that's the other thing. And I don't think he's going to suck. I think Denver, I'm not going to take the blame away from him. I do think he was handed a raw deal a little bit. Year 1, I think Nathaniel Hackett's a horrible coach. I think Aaron Rodgers has made him respectable, but I don't really know what he's done outside of Rodgers. I think he had a raw deal, and then year 2, you had a coach in Sean Payton who never wanted him. From the minute he took that job, his first thought was, I want Russ out of here. So you had a horrible coach year 1, a coach year 2 who didn't want you there. Everyone said, oh, he's had receivers, but like Cortland Sutton's okay, and Jerry Jeudy's nothing. The Broncos gave up on him. They sent him off to Cleveland. So was he really in that great of a situation? Javonte Williams was hurt. They kind of blew up the team his first year there. So I'm not taking all the blame from Russell Wilson away. I do think that 3 years ago, he was a consensus top 10 quarterback, and he is older, but he's not that old where it's like he's fallen off. I do think he's in a better situation now, and he's also got something to prove here. If he fails in Pittsburgh, if he shits the bed in Pittsburgh, he'll never be a starting quarterback again. This is it. Because now they're going to look at it and go, hey, 2 bad years in Denver, a bad year in Pittsburgh. He's in his mid-30s. That's it. He'll be a backup quarterback / bridge quarterback, and like Jacoby Brissett is right now in New England. That's it. So this is it for Russell Wilson. He has to do good here, or else he can kiss his days as a franchise quarterback goodbye. And again, If he still sucks, they have Justin Fields, who I thought kind of got a raw deal in Chicago as well. You got two quarterbacks who, when they were healthy, were pretty good, but they were on bad teams.
Fair enough. All right. I think you
For
make a
plus
good case. And
185,
exactly.
I mean,
And I don't even think Russ would be the problem. I think that the schedule and just like, are the guys that they have around him good enough? We'll see. But either way, again, it's plus 185. I can't act like it's like we were forced to take a plus money spot here. You know what I mean?
I mean,
All
the
right,
defense
now,
they got Patrick Queen on their defense. Like,
yeah,
they got a good
true.
team.
Yeah. Yeah. From the Ravens, right? Yeah. So, or he was in the Ravens. So yeah, that's a good point. All right. So now this is, if I'm not mistaken, we're at the fade me round, correct?
Yep.
All right, so
good.
if you guys,
this is a good start.
this is great. I mean, I'm gonna wear out by week 1, but for now, it's all good. So, what the fade me round is in Tasos, I made a nice little special wheel for us. So we'll get into that in just a second. But what this round is whoever this lands on gets to make a futures pick within the categories that we have here. So we can pick the category, and the other person has to take the opposite. So I think we have to exclude Super Bowl winner, right? I mean, we could do that if you want, but it's probably crazy to take a fade me Super Bowl anyway. So we can leave it all in there because whoever's selecting, that's on you. But to me, it's like, let's do something that's more of like a yes or no, make the playoffs, or maybe a win total or something like that, that has two sides of it. But essentially, that's what I'm getting back to, is that the minute you make your selection, I don't have a pick in this round. I just have to take the opposite of what you take. So if you take a team's win total, if you take a team to make the playoffs, I have to say, over under based on the opposite of what you said. So hopefully that makes sense to everyone. This is a distinguishing thing of the show, and it's been really, really fun. Because what can happen is that last year I tried to get Tasos many times. I took a heavy favorite just for like a minus 180 price tag, and he got like the plus 200 side of it. And then it would cash on his end, and I would lose that big favorite.
You made an enemy of Jordan Love and the Packers last
year. I did, and look at where they ended up. How dumb is that?
Yep.
But anyways, all right, let's jump into it again. Whoever this lands on gets to make the selection. I think I want the fade me round. I think I have a play that I like. That
I want it big
all right,
time.
All right, so let's see what we got.
I have a really good pick. I think you gotta get mad if I took it.
I think okay. I think you might be similar. Yeah, we'll see because I have two picks. One of them. We'll see. Let's go. All right. So whoever lands on one of our lovely faces here will be the one that is calling the shot here. And yes, I did this morning look for ugly pictures of both of us from our videos. Looks like it's going to be
a couple. Oh, it's me.
That is a beautiful picture.
I look drunk in that picture.
Maybe you were. It wasn't
Friday night. It's me on a Friday night at the casino.
Oh, love it. All right, so Tasos, you get to make a selection. I'm gonna share mine with you afterwards, just so like everyone knows like what I was thinking. But and it's not gonna count for anything. But what are you thinking for the fade me around here? What am I have to do the opposite of?
So the funny thing is, you're gonna have to root against the team.
I knew it.
Need for another one of your picks to win. I'm taking the Eagles here, over 10.5 wins, minus 130 odds here. There's no way Philadelphia wins less than 11 games. That division is weak. The Giants and Commanders both stink. I think it should be 4 wins right there, probably at least 3. And then if they don't split with the Cowboys, they'll probably beat them twice. We know how Dallas is in those primetime games. They shit the bed. So they got a pretty reasonable division to play in, and then the rest of their schedule wasn't too bad. We talked about it already. I think the Eagles are really good. I think they fixed the problem with their defense. Their offense is insane. I think Saquon could make them even better than they ever were. Good offense. We've talked about it already. I'm not going to keep glazing the Eagles here, but I think 10.5 over here. 11 wins. All they need is 11 wins. I think they won 11 games last year, or 10 wins, and they were terrible last year. So I think 11 wins is pretty fair. And now you're a Super Bowl pick in your bet to win it. You now have to bet against them here. You need to win. Now, to be fair, they could win 10 games and win the Super Bowl. So, I mean, you can still, but you got to root for this team to not win too many games.
Yep. And I knew you were either going there, or I was thinking it'd either be there, Bengals or 49ers. When you said you're going to have to root against and you cut yourself, I actually knew it was either one of two, because I had 2 plays that I was thinking too. I was thinking of making you root against the Patriots all season long by taking their win total over.
That's fine.
But I don't think I don't think I'm crazy enough also to think that they're going to win 6 games or whatever it is. They might even be 4.5 now. And then my other one, this just would have been kind of fun to monitor all year. It's a team that I do think is due with some coaching changes and even some, offensive changes that may actually have a better year against a really bad schedule. Was going to be taking the win total over for the Panthers. I think it's at like 5.5, and that's kind of a good number of like, I could see them winning 6 games and also still stinking. So that was
where did they improve?
Coaching, I guess. They're
They,
players.
they lost Brian Burns on defense, and the only real addition was they got Deontay Johnson from the Steelers. And I saw somebody on TikTok made a hype tape of him dropping passes in training camp. So
Yeah, hey, I did like Alshon Jeffrey, but I did say that just would have been a fun one to monitor because it's like we have a bet going on in the Panthers all year long. So, but
yeah, that would have been something. I would have been happy to have the under on that one. I would have
I
been
know,
glad to have the
and
under on
and
that
which
one.
is well, that was the if you look at the odds right now, that's the only one that's a pick 'em. It's actually it moved, but it was -110, -110. That's where I
Yeah.
started with that one. So let's not act like was trying to really push the Panthers. But anyways, so now I have to root against the Eagles. I want them to have 10 or less wins. That's for +110 for me, and you said what, +130 for the over for
Oh, it's
you?
-130 for
Sorry,
the
yeah,
over
yeah.
10.5.
Sorry, yeah, -130. So, all right, that's good. So, just to recap here, Super Bowl finalists, I had the Bengals and the 49ers. You went with the Chiefs and the Lions, right?
Yep.
And then what was our second round here? I'm already forgetting. Now
Super Bowl winner. I got us. Don't worry, I got us covered, guys. This is where Ev
take us home.
struggled a little bit. All right, so Super Bowl winners.
I'm a goldfish.
Huh?
I'm a goldfish.
Yeah, that's
short
true.
memory.
I had Eagles as my Super Bowl winner. Ev had the no, I had Lions as my Super Bowl winner. He had Eagles. My bad.
Tasos is so good at this.
he had the Eagles. I had the Lions. And then we had teams make the playoffs. He had the Colts. I had the Steelers. And then obviously fade me. I have Eagles over 10.5. He has Eagles under 10.5.
Yeah.
So
it'll be on your screen as you're watching this, but right now as Tasos and I record, we can only see each other's face. So it's a little bit harder for us to do than you guys back home. But yeah, definitely excited for H2H. This is again kind of a week 0, the NFL futures picks week, but every single week we're gonna have spread, total, money line, player props, and we kind of mix some things up throughout the season as well. But the format with the wheel and stuff is the key piece. So am I missing anything before we sign off here, Tasos?
No, I was gonna say we still have a little bit of time before the season, so I don't know if we'll do another HGH before week 1. I was thinking maybe like literally the week before doing like a player prop one where we do like the player over, because I think it's too far now.
Yeah,
maybe, but if not, week 1 obviously we'll be back with HGH. But yeah, it was maybe we should have waited to do this one, but I think it was just kind of at least on my part was a lot of excitement to like I just wanted to get back at it. Like I miss talking about football, so I had an itch that needed to be scratched.
Yeah, and you had an itch to just start shitting all over my picks. That's been out of your life for a few months now. So
yeah, I haven't been able to do that. I mean, you've been killing it with
and
baseball and basketball. It's really hard to shit on your actual picks videos because you've been killing it.
Well,
every thumbnail is like 22-10, 20-6, 20.
The baseball run has been absurd.
Yeah, crazy.
but you know what? Blind squirrel, right? Every once in a while we find a nut. But all right, guys, it's gonna wrap it up for H2H season 2 episode 1, week 0.
Yeah.
But yeah, appreciate everyone tuning in. Again, if you made it this far into the video, I assume you've already been subscribed, or if you're not, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. We appreciate everyone that's tuning back in from last year as Tasos puts on his crown that probably will not even be able to stay on his head for the next 3 minutes. And yeah, that looks cool. The king having to hold his crown. But nonetheless, if you are new, buckle up. We're going to have more and more this season. I'll leave you guys with that. We'll catch you guys in the next one, all right? Peace out.